And now, a conversation piece. This is The Rundown. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode here at A Week in Geekdom. I am your host, Giovanni Menendez, and let's lighten up this place. Let's put it a little moodier, shall we? Wait a minute. No. Let's put it a little moodier, and by that I mean... there you go. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode, another edition here at The Rundown in A Week in Geekdom. I am your host, Giovanni Menendez, and this is the first ever review/discussion book session? I don't know. So for this very session, I picked up a book that I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna dig. It's something unconventional in A Week in Geekdom, and I had to dig through my Dark Horse collection of one of my favorite characters, Hellboy, and I picked up Hellboy, the Midnight Circus. Here we go. Hellboy, the Midnight Circus. First things first, it's a fairly short read, and you can, right off the bat, you can tell by looking at the actual book, it's pretty thin. I think this is close to 60 something pages or less maybe. It's a short story, but then again, if you're a Mike Mignola fan and the Hellboy verse, or the Mignola verse if you want to call it that, then you know that short stories or short horror stories is Mike's specialty, and in my opinion, this is no exception. It might not be the best Hellboy work out there, but I really dug it. I really think this is an awesome book, and by the end of this video, maybe, just maybe, I might convince you to pick this up. Alright, first things first, Mike Mignola is the writer, Duncan Fegredo, and Dave Stewart. I hope I said all those names right. If not, I suck. I'm sorry. But yeah, basically right off the gate, you don't have to know that much about Hellboy. You do know that he is the son of the devil, the son of the demon, and he's working with the BPRD, the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, working against all these evildoers that are crossing over into our world. And you know, it's so pulpy and noir and awesome, and it's filled with so much rich history and interesting characters from Abe Sapien, Liz Sherman, Johann Kraus, Roger the Homunculus, and so many others. Really, this to me is the anime of the comic books, if that makes any sense. The Hellboy is composed of a lot of books, but The Midnight Circus is a fairly short story. So this one goes back in time to the early days of Hellboy, and by early I mean early, back to the late 40s, early 50s, when Hellboy was just a tiny little kid. One of the things I really liked about the book is that you find Hellboy in an interesting position, and by that I mean he is trying to figure out where he stands inside the organization. Rutenholm, of course, the professor is a father figure, but there's a moment in the book where they're asking, somebody's asking Hellboy about his father, and he says he doesn't have a family, I guess, but then he mentions, then you have to have somebody that's looking after you, and yes, he mentions Rutenholm, the professor, which you've seen in the movies and in the main series. So right off the gate, what I liked about it is that you have a character, like so many people, that they're trying to figure out where they belong, especially when you're a kid, especially when you're growing up, and you've been there. You see all these adults doing things that you're like, I want to do that. But as soon as they tell you that you cannot, that's when you tell yourself, no, I have to do this. I have to figure out how to do this because I want to be a part of that social club. You know, you're naive, you're clueless, you're a brat, and you're trying to figure it out. And I appreciate that you get that Hellboy here. One of the more interesting facts about Hellboy, you get to see Hellboy smoking for the first time. Now, I don't smoke or anything like that, but I thought it was pretty interesting to see the origin story, if you will, about that. And it is because of, and I don't want to get too detailed with the whole thing with the book, because I want you guys to read it, but one of the things that I found really cool, really funny, was that basically the whole reason Hellboy escapes the BPRD and ventures out and finds something that I'll get to later is because of a glorified sex tale. And by that, two BPRD officers are talking about, this guy is dating this chick, and apparently it's going really well, and they can't believe it because he's old and she's young, and yada yada. So, but they want to keep talking, but Hellboy's there with them, and just like in real life, you get censored as a kid because they don't want you to listen to such stories. So Hellboy ventures out on his own, and he steals a cigarette and lights it using his right arm of destruction. And I thought it was funny that was the deciding factor of, you know what, I'm gonna run away and smoke a cigarette. So soon after, and as the name implies, we find what the hell's a midnight circus. Young Hellboy runs away from the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, only to stumble upon a strange and fantastical circus that may or may not have come from hell. Alright? Now, what did I think of the circus? I thought it was pretty fun. Let's just say the characters are not who they appear to be. But I thought it was pretty interesting to see the dynamic between the circus owner and when you finally learn who he is. But at the same time, he's trying to protect Hellboy. There's something strange about him because he's not freaked out until you learn what he is, or what's his deal is, or what his deal is. And there's a second character in there which I will not spoil because I thought it was pretty cool. But the relationship between these two characters that I'm referring to is fantastic. Even in this short story, it doesn't matter if you've never read Hellboy, you get a sense of world building. You get a sense that this is a really special, huge place with many characters. And you get the core values. You get the value of family, of friendship, honesty, and for that, I think this book has to be commended. Now, I said at the beginning, it's not the most lengthy read. It's only like 60-something pages. And I guess that could deter some from picking it up. But in reality, if you like your short stories, I think you should definitely pick it up. I think it's worthwhile. And the art looks amazing, by the way. Duncan Figueredo draws a pretty interesting Hellboy. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but I thought, I'm so used to Guy Davis, and I'm so used to Mike Mignola on the Hellboy and BPRD books, and so on and so forth, that at first I was a little hesitant to read it, but once you get on it, it's just fantastic. It's like the next step of Mike Mignola's art style, and by that, I find a lot of the panels actually look a lot like Mike's original pitch for Hellboy, except this one has more color, it's more vibrant, there's less shadows, which is a trademark of these books. It's a very noir, heavy feel universe. But this one, even though it takes place at night, and you can see over here the circus, you know where everything is, you know about everything. Which, by the way, the whole thing with the Midnight Circus suddenly appearing out of nowhere, it reminded me of your ghost stories that you used to hear as a kid about, hearing things that are not there, or you're walking through the grassy fields and you suddenly hear voices or laughter or chains running around the ground and all that stuff, and I'm already getting spooked out. But you get that feeling, or at least I got that nostalgia with those stories. You get to see the circus, and right away you know it's really demonic because there's nobody there, just the circus performers, and there's like crazy clowns and like Asian, Chinese or Taiwanese people or something going on, like animals, people on fire. There's it's like a demon or something there, and obviously a lot of cool stuff appears. Check it out. But I think the most essential part of Midnight Circus is the story of Pinocchio, about this boy wanting to be, let's say he's fake, but he wants to be a real boy. That to me is the core element of the Midnight Circus. Hellboy he is who he is, but I guess he wants to be human, but he wants to be the same as everybody else, which I guess could mirror Pinocchio wanting to be a human, a regular person. He wants to be like everybody else. So, yeah, I think that's one of the more important themes of the book. Finding out who you are, what you are, the core values of having a family, of someone that cares for you, and all that stuff. One of my favorite panels happens to be the last page, where everything gets resolved, I guess, and it's this really heartwarming moment. And those of you who have read it, you know what I'm talking about. But it really reminds me that how different the Hellboy saga would have been, or could be, if the professor were still around. Do I recommend this? Hell yeah, I recommend this. Plus, it's only $14.99. $15, you get a good, solid story with a. And even if you are not a Hellboy fan, should you pick it up? I think so. I think you can go in reading this blind. However, it helps if you've already read the original stuff. Why is that? Because you're going to get a ton of more exposition to these characters. You will know these characters heart to heart. And by the time you actually pick up this book, it will have a much more significant value to your read, I guess. So, in my opinion, yes, you should pick it up. Even if you've not read it, I think it's a great introductory piece to the Hellboy world. Although, as a personal suggestion, I would suggest the original books, because they are masterpieces, in my opinion. Hellboy is a fantastic comic book universe, and I think everybody should check it out. It doesn't need my word of recommendation. The book recommends itself. And if you want to try a quick, quirky, fun story that fits into the whole Miolaverse, then yeah, you should pick up Hellboy, The Midnight Circus, hardcover. I doubt it'll be collected in a new library edition, by the way, so yeah, you should pick this up. And if you're like me, you picked it up at InStockTrades.com for a whopping $7. That's awesome. You get a full hardcover book for $7. You should get on that, folks. So, if you want me to talk about any other book, if you want me to talk about any comic, video game, anything in between, I'm there for you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing to A Week in Geekdom, liking our videos. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, Vine, and of course, Periscope. If you have the Periscope app, you can look me up, A Week in Geekdom, or you can just type periscope.tv/A Week in Geekdom. Thank you guys so much. God bless. Have a great evening, or day, or night, and yeah, keep on reading. All right. Get up. Go. Thank you for tuning in to another installment. You can keep the conversation going through your favorite social media platform. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on Twitter, like our fan page on Facebook, and favorite our pics on Instagram. You can also write to us for feedback, suggestions, and such via aweekingeekdom@gmail.com. Until next time. I did not study for this.